On the battlefield, no one should neglect any foe. It was truly carefree. Changsun was someone who could not wait. He wanted to open his eyes and see his fellow brothers. Mr. Changsun, your Skylink. It's from the military, a beautiful nurse said softly. Help me open it. I'm here. Changsun, how is your recovery? General, the doctor says that I have 70% chance of success for recovery. I will definitely return to the team. Thank you, Changsun said as he sat up. No need to thank me. It is deserving of your status as an honorable warrior. However, this time your treatment fees are from court. I personally hope that you can put on the military uniform once again and not let down all the people's feelings. Aymar put down his Skylink. Paradise Island was not a place ordinary people could enter even if they were rich. The military had given the green light, and furthermore, Changsun was an excellent soldier. Changsun was slightly shocked. The doctor had asked him to rest, but the situation was just too strange. CT was a profit-driven company. Why would they help him? Was it because of those few battles he had? That would be impossible. Faced with his burning questions, Changsun went to inquire with customer service. Regardless if the other party ignored him or not, he would express his thanks. What was unexpected was that his Skylink quickly rang. Mr. Changsun, I am Solon. I am in charge of Earth's CT. Hello, Mr. Solon, I would like to thank you. I don't know what I should say. Solon gave a slight smile. You are thanking the wrong person. Your medical fees were mostly paid for by Skeleton. It was he who requested for it. Of course, it is also our honor to help a veteran get better. We from the CT company are very willing to pay a part of the fees and hope you recover quickly. Perhaps in the future you might be busy, but we hope that you will come back to the game to take a look every so often. Solon was very busy and thus he did not beat around the bush with Changsun. He then turned off the Skylink. Changsun quietly lied on his bed as he closed his eyes slowly. However, his heart could not stay at ease. After finishing another refreshing battle, Wang Zheng and Yan Xiaoshu made their way back to school. Little Red Noob is just too sly. He actually took such an opportunity to confess to Bubbly. Ah, the poor little cabbage has been taken. Yan Xiaoshu laughed. A group of people in the Corps were mad. Bubbly Foam was an idol to numerous people. However, she had managed to be wooed by Rainbow. I feel that everyone's standards have improved. That is the case. The entire Corps is extremely motivated. Furthermore, everyone has improved their awareness in the game. They no longer rush in recklessly and get killed. Naturally, they will improve. Yan Xiaoshu laughed again. Although Yao Ailun and Chen Shu are average players, their ability to make accurate judgments is extremely strong. Furthermore, the two of them are good teachers and give good pointers. Their help has been quite useful. Wang Zheng gave a slight smile. Before he could open his mouth, his Skylink rang. Wang Zheng, where have you run to? Come to the laboratory immediately. Xiao Fei's voice echoed from the Skylink. Yan Xiaoshu looked extremely happy. The king has called. Student Zheng, you have to go, quickly. Wang Zheng gave a bitter smile. She's not a king, she's the empress. He had turned off his Skylink during the battle. Xiao Fei had a bad temper and had definitely flipped. Wang Zheng hurriedly walked away. Not long after, Yan Xiaoshu received a Skylink call. Could it be his beloved Mei Mei? It was truly a perfect night. Right after this battle, would he engage in another passionate one? Yet when he saw the number, he could only stare at it blankly. This number was one that he had managed to obtain through great difficulty, but he had never called it before. Yu Jing? Why would she contact him on her own initiative? However, Yan Xiaoshu still picked up the call. Student Xiaoshu, it's Yu Jing. The voice on the other end was very warm. Yan Xiaoshu coughed dryly. Student Yu Jing, what seems to be the problem? I am in Beijing and would like to chat. Would it be possible? Yu Jing said almost pleadingly. Yan Xiaoshu hesitated for a moment. She was his previous secret crush. Regardless, it was just a meeting. She wouldn't be able to eat him alive, would she? And Mei was actually looking for Yan Xiaoshu that night. However, a big problem had happened in the drama club. Her middle school idol, the popular actor Jung Kae, had come. Jung Kae was once a student at Aries College. However, after he was talent spotted, he immediately entered showbiz. He had managed to make it big and had become the idol of numerous young girls. His visit had attracted a lot of attention. To the students, this was big news. His fan club had completely surrounded the area. Jung K was not only exceptionally handsome, he also had a quality of a new student surrounding him. His deeply emotional gaze was able to completely knock out a young girl. And May did not have such an exaggerated reaction to him. However, her heart was still very excited, hence her performance was also exceptional. Jung K was here to give pointers to some of his juniors, however, the entire drama club was inspired by his words. When the production ended, Jung K took the initiative to invite everyone to dinner. It brought cheers from everyone. This was what it meant to be an idol. He was a big shot but did not act like it, instead, he was still so amicable and approachable. However, when May reached the dinner place, she realized that she was the only person there. "Senior, where are the rest?" Jung K gave her a wry smile and pulled a chair for May to sit in. "Have a seat." At the same time, he couldn't help but to caress May's waist. "Your performance was amazing. Congratulations." As he spoke, he raised his wine glass as his eyes affixed themselves on May. This girl was truly very well developed. She was truly quite sexy. "Thank you." May had an imposing feel to her. "Haha. Great, that's wonderful. Actually, I have my own selfish reasons in meeting you. May, your performance wasn't bad, it was full of potential. I feel that you can consider developing yourself in showbiz. Although there are still minor problems with your acting, I feel that after you accumulate some experience, everything will be fine. If you are interested, I can introduce you to my manager." Jung K immediately pulled out his trump card. May was a girl who loved to perform. She liked the feeling of being on stage and to flaunt her beauty. This was one part of her that Yan Xiaoshu did not oppose. However, competition was fierce. She would never had expected that such an opportunity would appear. May couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. "Really, senior? You can do that?" Jung K had a mature, entrancing smile on his face, with eyes that seemed to be saying, "You mean you don't believe me?" as he held May's hand. May was quite shocked. She pulled her hand back silently. "Mr. Jung, could you tell me what are the conditions?" "Haha. Truly amazing. You are an intelligent girl. I will not beat around the bush. Your potential is unlimited, but if you want to ascend to the top, you have to pay a price. In Beijing, I will be your supporter. So long as you listen to me obediently, I will not mistreat you." Jung K's smile was very natural. This was because he had made preparations to handle such a girl. What did a girl truly want? Of course it was to be a celebrity, to satisfy their vanity. To meet the goddess of his dreams once again, Yan Xiaoshu felt a little emotional. Although she was still beautiful, Yu Jing seemed a little gaunt. Yan Xiaoshu and Wang Zheng were people who did not remember grievances, especially when it came to such things. What had passed had passed. Furthermore, Yu Jing had taken the initiative to mend their relationship. The two of them talked about the interesting things that happened in school, and their laughter resounded throughout the place. Yan Xiaoshu could feel that Yu Jing had transformed yet again into the goddess of his dreams. "Xiaoshu, I heard that you have a girlfriend now. Furthermore, she is the #1 beauty of the drama club. You truly fell in love with someone else really quickly. I feel hurt," Yu Jing teased. The usually outgoing Yan Xiaoshu looked slightly embarrassed. "I am happy that someone wants me." "Xiaoshu, Wang Zheng and you are capable people. However, the two of you have bad eyesight. As a girl and as your friend, I would like to say that a wild girl who wishes to develop in showbiz is someone that cannot be relied on," said Yu Jing. Yan Xiaoshu suddenly had a foolish smile on his face. "Really? Do you understand what I mean?" Yu Jing asked. Why was this fool still so silly? "I understand. You said that wild-hearted girls are not reliable," Yan Xiaoshu said. Yu Jing nodded her head. "That's correct. For the sake of climbing higher, they will resort to any measures. This includes selling themselves." "Ah. That's pitiful. A sea of bitterness lies ahead with no hope of shore, but instead salvation exists when turning back," Yan Xiaoshu said as he sighed. Deep down, Yu Jing was furious. How could this fool not understand? At this moment, her Skylink rang. Yu Jing stared at it, smiling briefly before her face turned into one of anger and shock. She suddenly stood up. Xiaoshu, take a look. This is truly infuriating. How can An Mei do this? For the sake of becoming famous, she actually did such a dirty thing. A few pictures could be seen on the Skylink. It was that of Zhang Ke holding An Mei's waist. Another picture showed Zhang Ke holding An Mei's hand, and An Mei even had a look of happiness on her face. Originally, Yan Xiaoshu thought that Yu Jing had changed. However, after hearing her words, he knew that she had not and thus replied sarcastically. Yu Jing, on the other hand, did not understand. However, he had not expected such photos to appear. He had dedicated himself to An Mei. At the same time, he felt absolutely furious. Xiaoshu, don't be angry. You still have me. After saying so, she grabbed Xiaoshu's hand before gently caressing it. She was extremely close to Yan Xiaoshu, and she even rested her head on Xiaoshu's chest. Xiaoshu, you are amazing. I made a mistake by not seeing you for who you are. Let's start again from the beginning. On the other side, the exact same story unfolded. Mr. Zhang, I think you have misunderstood. We have no reason to continue talking. Goodbye. An Mei stood up. Being used as an entertaining toy was not a foreign concept. However, she did not expect it to happen to her. Zhang Ke did not expect that either. He looked at the pompous An Mei, who had rejected him. Xiao Mei, you are a good girl. However, there is nothing great about a rich playboy. Take a look. It was a picture of Yu Jing consoling Yan Xiaoshu. The picture even had a close-up on the bountiful breasts of Yu Jing. Zhang Ke smiled. Living is meant to be for enjoyment. That bastard only has dirty money. He is a wastrel and nothing more. Once you are famous, money is meaningless. Why shortchange yourself? Could it be that you think I am not his equal? An Mei picked up the wine glass, her face forming a smile. The smile became larger and larger. Suddenly, the glass of wine was thrown onto Zhang Ke's face. At the same time, her left hand smashed a plate onto Zhang Ke's head. In one swift motion, she had knocked Zhang Ke into a daze. Watch yourself. Why don't you go and find out what kind of person An Mei, am? Such small tricks. Go and tell your grandma, Yu Jing. That **oot, if she has any ability, she can come and face me directly. Don't play these petty games with me. Zhang Ke touched his head. His hand was smeared with blood. Then he rushed at her angrily. Little b***tch, you are looking to die. As he prepared to hit An Mei reacted naturally and lashed out with her legs. A pitiful cry resounded throughout the place. My jewels, jewels, my imperfect jewels. An Mei then gave another kick to Zhang Ke on the ground. Deep down, she felt quite lucky. It was wonderful that Meng Tian had actually taught her a few savage moves to protect herself. This woman, Yu Jing, was like a ghost that would not leave. She knew that she had struck it rich with Xiaoshu and hence did not leave him. Yan Xiaoshu feebly continued to enjoy the consolation of Yu Jing. Xiaoshu, we were destined to be together. At this point in time, Xiaoshu's Skylink rang. Student Xiaoshu, taking advantage of her slightly is enough. Are you pretending your wife doesn't exist? Yan Xiaoshu suddenly quivered and immediately sat upright. Yu Jing looked shocked as well. Tyrant Su let out a pitiful smile. I'm sorry, I already live with a tigress at home. If you don't mind being my second wife, I can accept that. However, you need to gain the approval of the tigress. You were acting? Yu Jing shouted angrily. It was no wonder that B*****'s hands were unreserved when touching her. Now that she thought about it, how could an angry man actually act hurt? Tyrant Su shamelessly waved his hand. Student Yu Jing, it's not that I am not a match for you, rather, I was worried you would suffer. What are you talking about? How could I have been mistaken? Xiaoshu, I really want to improve our relationship, Yu Jing aggrieved. Ah, Yu Jing, let me tell you what I think your good points are. I found out that after I graduated, your IQ has not improved. I also found out that you are so generous that you hired a gigolo to stage a show. However, next time you ought to think things through better. How in the world can something happen so coincidentally? Also, when you're acting, you have to do a better job. Whenever you're near me, you have this look of absolute hatred. Tyrant Su laughed. After tidying up his hair, he said, "This brother here is now the man of the moment. Did you actually think I was as naive as I was before?" Of course, Yan Xiaoxiu was truly shocked by the pictures. However, it was a pity that Yu Jing had a record for doing such unsavory things. Also, the entire thing seemed too coincidental, and those pictures did not seem to say anything. Most importantly, the current Xiaoxiu was not the naive Xiaoxiu of the past. He would not be a loser forever. You misunderstand. This situation has nothing to do with me. It's that woman. Yu Jing continued to try to explain herself. Yan Xiaoxiu waved his hand. Yu Jing, don't continue. You are just insulting my intelligence now. I am very curious. Why do you hate me to the point that you are willing to cross vast distances to find trouble with me again and again? This is just too strange. Wait a minute, it looks like you weren't just looking for me, but also Wang Zheng. Haha. Perhaps you're secretly in love with Wang Zheng, yes? Then why are you disturbing me? Yan Xiaoxiu shook his head. This situation seems pretty strange. There is no reason for such love. There is also no reason for such hate. I can smell a plot afoot. Yu Jing's heart skipped a beat. She was very clear that if Xiaoxiu suspected something, then she would definitely be finished. You are right. I hate you. I hate Wang Zheng. I hate Yi Zisu. I thought that we were meant to be close sisters. However, she only saw me as a joke. Now that she is so close to Wang Zheng, I just can't stand the sight of it. Yan Xiaoxiu, remember this now. So long as I live, this is not over. Even that wreck of a company your family owns, I can destroy it at any moment. Right now I will give you an opportunity. Kneel down and beg for forgiveness. If you don't, just wait. You will be sleeping on the curb, Yu Jing said angrily. Yan Xiaoxiu couldn't help but laugh. What are you laughing about? Kiki, if it was a month back, I might have been afraid. It's a pity that little fortune star is now a company even you cannot touch. If you dared to do so, would you have waited until now? Please, why don't you act a bit smarter? Tyrant Su shook his head disapprovingly. This was too disappointing. That snowy white cleavage had lost all its allure for him. Furthermore, Yi Zisu is one of the most honest girls I have ever met. She doesn't even look like someone who has ever rebelled in her life. I don't think that she has ever mistreated you. However, everyone is a mature adult now. Only you are left wallowing in the past. This world does not revolve around you. Yu Jing pursed her lips and stopped herself from talking. What was happening? What happened to the Yan Xiaoxiu who could not even stand the sight of his own shadow? All right, I think we have talked enough. My Mei is waiting for me. Since you were the one who invited me, I will trouble you to pay for the bill. Bye-bye. Tyrant Su confidently stood up, and before he left, he even gracefully picked up an apple off the table. After this little fiasco, Yan Xiaoxiu's and Mei's feelings had taken another step forward. Mei was an intelligent girl, but Yan Xiaoxiu had times where he faltered. However, he was still a good person at heart and would not do anything that would affect their relationship negatively. To Yan Xiaoxiu, after experiencing this situation with Yu Jing, he had become calm when it came to such matters of feelings. Xiaoxiu, you said that Yu Jing just couldn't let things go and had even created such a ruckus. You didn't happen to do anything to her family and caused trouble, did you? Mei teased. Yan Xiaoxiu did not laugh. Mei could not laugh either. When Yan Xiaoxiu was not playing the fool, he seemed very domineering. This situation seems very fishy. However, after discussing it with Mei, he could not discover any traces of a plot. Hopefully Yu Jing would not continue to cause trouble after being taught a lesson. In Europe, in the Chronos courtyard, Patriarch, Yu Jing has failed, Droop said, before explaining what had happened. A cold smile appeared on Lear's face. It's a pity. I have to start by dealing with Yan Xiaoxiu before dealing with Wang Zheng. Brothers falling apart. This is truly a woman's story. This will be an interesting show. Droop nodded his head. At the same time, it would allow General Meng's daughter to get a good look at what Wang Zheng was really like. He would be able to kill two birds with one stone. Patriarch, how should we deal with Yu Jing? Get rid of her along with her father, Yu Long. He has already attracted the hate of too many people. It's time to give everyone else an explanation, Lear said faintly. She did not expose your plans even at the last moment. Do you want to give her a second chance? With her relationship with Yan Xiaoshu and Wang Zheng, this pawn can be used again, Droop said. Lear's gaze turned chilly. When did you become so dim-witted? The Kronos family does not need someone who has failed twice. Yes, Patriarch. This old one has become muddled, Droop said respectfully. Lear smiled. You weren't muddled. You were trying to probe me. This is the last time. I am Lear Kronos, remember that. Droop bowed deeply and no longer spoke a word. His job was to nurture Lear. However, after the last failure, Lear had completely matured. From that point on, he would be a blade, he would no longer need to think. Military might would not even allow them to dominate the Earth, however, intelligence would allow him to conquer the universe. 500 years of planning had come to an end. The prophecy was about to come true. The Earth would be revitalized as the majestic General Lear would dominate the Milky Way. In the classroom, Zhou Mu and Luomu were very satisfied with the class performance. Everyone, we have chosen the individuals who will be participating in IG. It will be Wang Zheng, Zhang Shan, Meng Tian, and Zhang Runan. The four of you will represent Ares College and enter the solar system's IG competition. Remember that you will not only be representing Ares College, more importantly, you will represent Earth. I believe that you will do Earth proud. Zhou Mu had never imagined that this group would end up being trusted with his expectations. However, he understood the strength of those competing. So long as they tried their best and showed their strength, that would be enough. Next, Teacher Luomu would like to say a few words. Luomu smiled. I won't talk much about the battle itself. When it comes to the time where you familiarize yourself with mecha, the amount of time you will have is very little. In addition, the amount of information given will be paltry. You will have to learn just by looking at the pictures. Perhaps when it comes to this aspect, we are disadvantaged, but what I would like to say is that regardless of what mech you will be using, all of them will have their own spirits. Their nature is the same. So long as you observe carefully and be one with the mech, you will discover things you have never imagined. Teacher, are you saying that mecha have life? That sounds very mysterious, Zhang Shan laughed. Hee, mecha do have a life of their own. From a tangible point of view, when you develop an emotional attachment for the equipment you use after going through life and death situations with it, the potential you can bring out from your mech will be different. You will also gain a form of self-confidence. From an intangible point of view, sometimes you can feel a force within the mech. You can choose to grasp it or ignore it. I hope that all of you will use your hearts to feel these mecha. IG is a competition, but it is also an excellent opportunity to learn. I hope to hear of your victory. Luomu said. He was very thankful to Yi Zisu's chiding. With this new group of kids, he was able to find someone to be his successor, and more importantly, he was able to rediscover his reason for living. Alright, you won't have to train in these next few days. Take the time to refresh yourselves and make arrangements for your classes. In 3 days you will leave. Zhou Mu smiled. Instructor, you won't be bringing us along? There are no entourages in IG. From now on, you have learned to be independent and make your own decisions. Remember to help each other and trust each other. Only then will you be able to create miracles. Wang Zheng, stay behind for a bit, Zhou Mu said. Zhang Shan smiled. Then I will be off. See you guys later. They could finally relax, and Zhang Shan was extremely excited. During the training period, Wang Zheng's attendance was actually the lowest because had a lot of things to do. Zhang Shan was the most hardworking. Ever since he started focusing, he discovered a new world. He used to study physics only because of his family's background. What he truly enjoyed was warfare, hence he improved extremely quickly. His previous educational foundation from physics did not diverge from what was needed in warfare, and he was even more logical than others, so he was able to look at warfare from a different angle. Meng Tian had a very cold exterior. It was as though whatever happened would not affect her at all. She would not be rash nor angry. She attended training on time and left promptly when it was over. Although Zhang Runan was one of the 4 members, she did not speak much. This was quite a unique team. Instructor. Wang Zheng knew that Zhou Mu had to inform him about something. Zhou Mu patted Wang Zheng's shoulder. Regarding the competition, I will not say much more. Your calmness exceeds your age. I am not worried, I just want to tell you that with great power comes great responsibility. The results are not what is most important. What is most important is that you can use this competition to understand your teammates and bring them to greater heights. Thank you, instructor, I will do my best, haha. However, if you can teach the other arrogant competitors a vicious lesson, that would be even better. Just when would Earth be able to let their pride shine brilliantly? Zhang Shan decided to go back home to relax. When it was time, he would go to the spaceport to gather. He had made such big changes ever since he went to college, and he had yet to tell his family. This was the perfect time to go back and explain himself. Yao Ailun and Chen Shu had also disappeared. It looked as though they had been kidnapped by Xiao Fei to be used as aides. When it came to overtime work, these two were extremely smart about it. Wang Zheng was not around, but this was what they had strived to do their entire lives and hence were more attentive and hardworking than anyone else. Therefore, they also improved rapidly. Wang Zheng had nowhere to go. The old merchant appeared and disappeared randomly, and he could barely contact him. Yan Xiaoshuan and Mei were basically stuck together all day, and Wang Zheng did not want to be the third wheel. Being a light bulb was not moral. Furthermore, Tyrant Su said that Yu Jing wanted to ruin the relationship between the two of them. Although she did not succeed, Wang Zheng felt very moved. After all was said and done, they were still classmates. Regardless of what had happened, it was all easily forgiven. However, after this situation, they would not want to take their relationship for granted anymore. After thinking about it, Wang Zheng thought of the skeleton core. Deep in his bones was a desire to cause a ruckus. Yet, after experiencing many unique situations, wanting to be a normal person was just not possible. He came to Brothers Net Cafe alone. Wang Zheng did not feel like competing and hence ordered a set meal, casually registered a new ID, and entered the skeleton core. Going in with his usual ID would cause trouble, and he wanted to enjoy the peace and quiet. CT's facilities were very comprehensive. The living community area was similar to what was seen in real life. It provided a space to chat as well as a place to discuss business. If there were other requirements, the user could click on an empty part of the interface and a window would pop up, showing forum discussions on the military core and even a marketplace. It was all extremely convenient. Wang Zheng did not have any goal and was just wandering around looking at things. The numerous parts of mecha on the catalog were the most well received. Low-end mecha were very cheap, while high-end mecha were exceptionally expensive. After a mech part was destroyed in battle, one definitely had to repair it. However, some people preferred to customize their mech and would do so. However, in CT, the mecha could not be customized to an extent like that of reality. There was still a gap, and hence Wang Zheng was not as interested in understanding the different mecha parts. His aim in playing CT was not the same as others. He found a place with beautiful greenery and then lied down in the sun before opening the discussion forum on the military core. The discussion was quite heated. Let's group battle then. Is anyone doing the Iron City mission? I am looking for a group, seeking pros. Pretty girl looking for help. Is there any kind-hearted brother willing to teach me how to use the Flame Serpent laser gun? B*TCH, is this your true self? I demand a live video, otherwise, I won't go with you. Stomping noobs. Stomping noobs. Fresh silver rank looking to rush to gold. Looking for a skilled team. Bad players need not apply. Rainbow, Wild King, do you have time? Let's go stomp some noobs. Old cat, wait a moment. We are currently watching a competition. Some fireflies from Mars seem to have found their way onto the Earth region. All the major regions had a clear division between them. However, from time to time, there were activities that spanned across all of them. Furthermore, there was a desire for each region's players to beat those from another, especially when it came to beating others from different planets. The feeling of accomplishment when beating someone from a different region was also significantly greater. Earth challenged the Moon challenged Mars, and Mars challenged Earth. This was all a common occurrence. Recently, there had been an undefeated group known as the Flame Conqueror Corps. They often fought group battles in the Earth region. They had already obtained 9 consecutive victories and were stirring up the community. However, after people realized their identities, they had attracted the Earth players' ire and counterattack. However, these Flame Conqueror core players were quite strong and still continued to maintain their winning streak. They wanted to obtain a 10-win streak before leaving. This situation was very common. Professional players and professional teams would not lend a hand in defeating these players, because doing so with their original accounts would reduce their own standing. However, using a Smurf was a completely different situation. On the other hand, this new group of players from Mars wasn't bad, and they were not from any named core. They were likely either Platinum or Diamond ranked. Generally speaking, most of these teams would aim to achieve a 10-win streak before leaving. It was enjoyable and would not give others any more chances to retaliate and end their streak. Perhaps on Mars they might have been broadcasting this show of conquering Earth's players to a small crowd. It was not an official activity and it was meant for one's own entertainment, however, it was still quite interesting to watch. When one saw the situation of conquering another planet, there was pride involved and things became heated. However, the main problem was that invading another region could be done without joining any core, but to properly set up a group battle, one was required to form a new core to do so. 10th Battle, Skeleton Core vs Flame Conqueror Core. When it came to the sheer number of players, the Skeleton Core had already become the largest of core. Hence, when they came to such battles, they generally had a high chance of playing against these people. The Skeleton Core was filled with endless passion, and they had recruited only gold-ranked players and above. Their will to battle flowed endlessly. Those who failed to be matched against the Flame Conquerors could only wring their hands and sigh. At the same time, Skeleton was not there. Why were they so excited? They ought to have given the opportunity to a stronger core to challenge them. If it was a normal battle, it wouldn't matter. However, this concerned Earth's reputation. Furthermore, everyone believed in their own abilities more than others. The Skeleton Core was now filled with quite a few experts. Rainbow and Wild King had joined relatively early, however, now they had also recruited some diamond-ranked experts. These individuals enjoyed lurking around, but they did not like participating in the activities themselves. Martians enjoyed 10 vs 10 battles, to kill without end. Rainbow and Wild King were currently waiting to register. Little Red Noob was currently extremely happy, however, the requirements to play now were very high, and he was worried he would not be able to make the cut to join the team. Yet, as Rainbow himself said, it was currently the holidays, and he was very free. Other than training, he had nothing else to do. Regardless, he could spend time chatting with Bubbly Foam and hence he enjoyed his time very much. Rainbow did not care much for this particular match. He just wanted to challenge the players from Mars. Whether he won or lost did not matter to him. What mattered was enjoying himself. However, the reactions from the players were more intense. One should not be playing casually. A large number of people had registered. They were all remarkably brave. However, for the sake of winning, they required individuals with higher win rates. Rainbow, Wild King, 2 diamond-ranked players, and 5 platinum-ranked players were chosen. Rainbow then got a message. "Add me to the game and let me have some fun." Rainbow was shocked. Who was so bold to want to merely have fun? This concerned the reputation of Earth's players. Ah, it was Skeleton. Student Wong had already changed to his original ID. Creating a ruckus would be fine. Fellow brothers, look who is here. The audience was currently having an intense discussion on battle tactics when a new ID appeared on the team, Skeleton. F***CK, is this for real? Even such a thing can happen. Haha, these Martian kids are about to run home crying. There is a strong desire to broadcast this, live stream. Wang Jung possessed a lot of fame, so his live streams were always in high demand. Even though some did not think it was important to commentate, since the audience wanted it, they would do so. The more people watching, the more exciting it would be. A 10 vs 10 chaotic battle would be extremely entertaining. They very quickly entered the matchmaking screen. Solon had not even made any preparations, as he had never expected Wang Jung to appear. Such a casual battle was very common, and the officials would not concern themselves with these inter-regional battles, hence he had not made any preparations or announcements. However, there was a type of communication also known as the word of mouth. The Flame Conqueror Corps were very arrogant. During battle they would spew taunts over the public channel. In this regard, they were very serious about it and maintained a high standard. What was this wool? Just as they guessed, the Flame Conqueror Corps had turned on a livestream. It looked as though it was part of their plan. Even then, there were several thousand people already viewing the match. The Skeleton Corps also launched their own livestream. What was important was that everyone had been infuriated by the Martians. When they saw the player list, everyone was in joy. Even though there was no announcement of this match, the number of VIP viewers was already more than 1 million. B*TCH, Skeleton is just too mean. These Martian kids are going to cry. Get rid of these maggots. Let them see what they are facing. Make sure they cry for their mommies and daddies, get a legendary decakill. This will be fun. There was a festive atmosphere about 10 vs 10, the entire audience was in an uproar. It was obvious that this group of Martians wanted to enjoy the thrill of beating the people of Earth. The two teams entered the battlefield. The Martians' taunts and jeers could be heard over the public chat channel. They intentionally chose to not speak in the Alliance common language but to use their own Martian tongue. Without courage, how could one triumph? The 10 mecha rushed forward in a team formation. The one with the loudest voice ought to be their captain. It was just like a real war. The Skeleton Corps had also formed their own formation. However, for some reason, everyone felt like laughing. Without saying, when the battle began, they would be serious. 10 vs 10 and 5 vs 5 were completely different situations. The mecha were plentiful, and in a split second, one could be destroyed. Hence it was important that they maintained their formation and didn't leave the group. The more people there were, the harder it was to manage, especially in court. Additionally, the opponent would even reveal flaws to bait the enemy. If one was not careful and fell for the trap, it would destroy the formation and could very possibly cause the deaths of their teammates as well. Martians enjoyed jeering, and this was also a battle tactic. If one could irritate their opponents, they would be able to gain victory even quicker. During the first engagement to probe the opponents, both sides were very anxious. They wanted to see how strong the opponents were and how well they reacted. The Martians were well trained in this aspect and would not have come over to the Earth region otherwise. Ah, Captain, there is a brittle skin. Are these Earthlings crazy? Haha. They were probably nervous and picked the wrong mech. Ah, we will target their weakest link and deal them a vicious blow. Strike them where they are weak. Yes, Captain. When the opponents realized that there was a war god #1 in their midst, they were like bees to honey. They targeted Wang Zheng and opened fire viciously. This was a standard textbook technique to gain an initial advantage. Since there were more people, it was even easier to cause a domino effect when one fell. Wang Zheng was also extremely cautious. 10 mecha firing upon him was no joke. Even though he had godly abilities, he would still get destroyed. Both sides exchanged fire, but no one had gained any advantage. Boss, this D*MNED Brittleskin is very slippery. We can't seem to take him out. Old rules, toy with them, hee, all you Earthlings. It seems like they are also live streaming this match. I wonder how many people are watching. On this side there are almost 10,000 viewers. How many do you have? However, from the Martians' point of view, you are just going to be destroyed. You guys are no different from kindergarteners, one Martian player shouted over the public channel quite arrogantly. In actual fact, they only had 7,000 viewers, but this fact was just a triviality. However, the audience on Earth was laughing. F***ck, there were almost 1.9 million viewers already. This was not even a publicly announced event. It was obvious that the Martians didn't seem very cool at that point. However, the crossfire from both sides made their intentions clear. The Skeleton Corps did not seem exceptionally skilled. However, the Martians seemed to be having a tough time. The reason was that the opponents were surprisingly well disciplined. Despite all their provocations, the opponents did not rush forward. In such a large group battle, what was most important was coordination. Whoever rushed forward first would face the entire enemy force and their fire. It would devastate themselves. Gecko was the Martian team's captain. He was also a Diamond 1 ranked player that was quite famous on Mars. He considered himself lucky to be able to crush noobs. He would be able to gain quite a few benefits by doing so. Of course, if the battle was more exciting, that would be even better. This was the last battle. The number of livestream viewers had already surpassed 20,000. Once they trashed Earth, they would go and compete on a stronger planet. However, currently, the battle had fallen into a stalemate. The Flame Conqueror Corps continued to push the assault. Their style of battling was more aggressive. The Skeleton Corps, on the other hand, were playing defensively. With Wang Zheng's orders, they would not be disadvantaged in any way. The two sides continued to battle at range, with their energy shields dwindling. At this point in time, the two sides' snipers began to shine. In a group battle, a deadlock would often happen. In such a situation, it was a competition of the team's gunnery skills and how well they were able to conserve their energy shields. Following which, they would allow their scouts to move away and hopefully attract the opponent's attention. However, on the Skeleton Corps side, there was a Brittleskin. Although this Brittleskin's gunnery was quite accurate, a normal laser shot was not as dangerous. Having said that, a laser shot was still a laser shot, so if it hit, it would still cause significant harm. Captain, that Brittleskin is very good at dodging. We should think of a way to crush him. Yes. That B** start is so slippery. F***ck his grandma. He even hit me 3 times. I don't dare to poke out and scout anymore. Gecko nodded his head. He had been observing the situation intently. This Brittleskin was quite the wretched enemy. He was quite skilled and it looked as though he was even the captain. The opponents had been focusing on him this whole time. However, they were left injured instead of taking him out. This battle was no longer fun. Even if they won, it was not in the dominating fashion he wanted. Even their provocations were not met, as they refused to take the bait. He didn't know whether he could quell his anger. Usually, in such a situation, once the battle became stale, the viewers would leave. How could this be called a battle? A bunch of terrified noobs they were. When one faced an enemy, they ought to be ferocious. Only then would the battle be glorious. Gecko was good at using the terrain. However, this time, there was something strange. The opponents were very calm. It was as though their audience was also watching calmly. Comrade, can you restrain that Brittleskin? Comrade was a famous Martian support player who had developed an unfathomable device. Not only did this device possess conventional support functions, it was an emergency rescue system on real mecha. It was an energy-powered magnetic cylinder that was able to rescue teammates in danger. It could even be used to eject precious equipment. This was something the police often used, however, it had been brought to the battlefield. However, in this case, he was not saving his teammates, he was going to eject the opponent away. It was said that the equipment could be used to capture wild beasts. Without saying, ever since Comrade developed such a move, he had become a famous support player among the Martians, so many experts wanted to battle him. He named his move the White Wolf Barehanded Catch. In CT, nothing was kept a secret for long. Any move that was developed would be copied. However, the problem was that when you tried to catch teammates, they would not dodge and would instead try to match their support. Yet enemies were not dumb enough to merely stand there, so many people who tried this move were scolded pitifully as they failed. A comrade who could catch opponents was a good comrade. Without saying, as the person who invented the move, Comrade was a real expert. Hence, for Gecko's expedition, Comrade was a person he had to bring along. Not a problem, however, the distance is still too far. Our formation has to close the distance. Comrade smiled. He had not participated much in the last few battles. This move was his killing ace, and it was finally time for him to shine. Maintain the formation, advance and suppress them. At a glance, the opponent's firepower increased. Additionally, when the opponents started to advance, Rainbow frenziedly shouted out, "Everyone be careful. The opponent is equipped with an energy-powered magnetic cylinder. Once you are caught by it, operate your engine at max capacity to block it." Comrade had already performed his move before. When he started using it, the opponents did not react in time and were shot into the midst of his team. Once the enemy's shield was depleted, they would only be mercilessly killed. It was quite a domineering move. However, after that, individuals who fought him in subsequent matches smartened up. When they were sucked in by the magnetic cylinder, they would immediately try to escape. However, the problem was that Comrade operated a Martian mech, the 9th generation Barbarian Bull. It possessed a heavy equipment load and was slow-moving with high energy reserves. If forced into close single combat, it would easily crush its foes. However, in a group battle, this was a completely different situation. The previous energy consumption was insignificant to it, and it had preserved the majority of its energy. Furthermore, the player was quite skilled. Wang Jung laughed. Maintain the formation. In a moment, when I get sucked into the cylinder, no one needs to worry. Just rush into them and attack them all out. No one refuted him. They could already see that the opponent's mecha were in a wretched state. That Brittleskin had ceaselessly fired at them while hitting a few rounds. It has to be said that he was quite accurate. On Earth's livestream, there were already 2 million viewers. This was not the same as the previous competition, as this battle was meant for leisure. A few of those who had watched the Flame Conquerors previously were eagerly anticipating the show. The Martians then began their show. A scout which looked as though it had rushed forward too eagerly headed towards the war god number 1. He looked like he was just looking for a beating. No one could have missed that. Since the opponent was acting so well, Student Wang wouldn't let them down. The war god number 1 opened fire fully, its laser hitting endlessly. Although the person was quite skilled, his energy shields were ripped apart by Wang Jung. At this point, Wang Jung felt that the mech had been forced to stop. The entire mech was covered in an energy cage. This also provided a protective shield. Comrade's mouth turned into a smile. He did not rely on the auto-targeting mechanism to target the opponent, he relied on his gut feeling, which was he had always been imitated but never surpassed. The war god number 1's energy output competing with the barbarian bulls was just a fantasy. This had nothing to do with skill, this was the difference between the mecha. The barbarian bull had caught the war god number 1, but it had also revealed its position. Rainbow and Wild King shouted a battle cry and then all the mecha began to rush forward madly. As the opponents had to protect the barbarian bull, they had to retaliate, however, they lost their momentum. The war god number 1 was not worried. This energy cage was the best form of protection. Furthermore, what the Martians wanted was to feel the thrill of being berserk. Hold it, just 10 more seconds and victory will be ours. Although their formation had been disturbed, the opponents had good mecha and were skilled. However, the situation was completely chaotic and both sides had their energy supplies depleted rapidly. The Martians were extremely excited. After violently fighting for so long, victory was finally in their sights. Hide, Gecko ordered. After a certain amount of time, the barbarian bull no longer needed to manually operate the cylinder, as the war god number 1 was sucked away. The war god number 1 had been sucked into the midst of the enemy. All of the Martian mecha drew their beam sabers and prepared to attack. The moment the war god number 1 landed, the energy cage dissipated, and then endless beam sabers hacked towards the war god number 1. Had anyone ever seen a gang fight? This was the very definition of allowing one to live out a gang fight. Only Martians with their strange hobbies and moves would do such a thing. Bang! Leaning landslide. One mech was knocked flying. The war god number 1 did not even look as its titanium alloy knife lashed out in a backhand strike. Without looking back, he took 4 steps back, dodging another 2 blades. Bang! Double kill. Gecko was shocked. F***ck. What kind of godly skill was this? While he was still stunned by what had happened, the war god number 1 executed an arced slide step and rushed over. Next to him, an explosion sounded out and fireworks spluttered in every direction. Triple kill. F***ck this B***tch. I didn't see him and he got me. He's rushing to you, I got him, bang, quadra kill. In a brief moment, 4 mecha had already been turned into scrap metal. All of the audience members on Earth were cheering. B***tches. This bunch of B***starred Martians. They definitely had something wrong with their heads. They could have caught anyone else. Instead, they chose to catch Skeleton. This was definitely them wishing to die. Comrade then rushed forward. As he was so embarrassingly close that he would not even have time to draw his weapon, he tackled the war god number 1 and opted to grab him. However, the war god number 1 disappeared in front of his eyes. Instead, he had been grabbed by the war god number 1, and with the help of his own momentum, he was flung into the blade of his own teammate as he stared onwards with wide eyes. Bang! Pentakill. Kill. Kill. Kill him regardless of the cost. Gecko was infuriated. All of the Martians were furious. In the heat of the moment, all they could see was red and a single brittle skin in front of them. They were supposed to be able to easily crush this brittle skin to death. In such a gang fight, unless their lineup was exceptional, his teammates would be no more than punching bags for Wang Jung. Simply said, without sufficient skill, this gang fight was just them seeking death in front of a real expert. However, finding a person Wang Jung considered an expert was a completely different story. Killing spree. Another mech had turned into a smoldering pile of sparks. At this point, the skeleton core mecha had turned into viewers. They wanted to help at first, but it looked as though it was not necessary. A chaotic battle without an announcement or planning had actually attracted 2 million VIP viewers. This was truly heaven-shaking. Hurry, go, go, skeleton is abusing some Martian kids. 1 killing 10. This is truly heaven-defying. This is just senseless. The opponent's barbarian bull is just watching his teammates get slaughtered. Hey, barbarian bull. You're as dumb as a bull, does your mom know that? The atmosphere was boiling hot. This was a completely different sort of excitement. Unstoppable. It was like hunting rabbits. His knife swept forth smoothly before twisting and killing a mech. Yet another mech was completely unable to respond before getting destroyed. Within a short span of time, 7 mecha had been destroyed. The last 3 were shocked and did not even know whether to attack or to run. You guys attack. I will support from afar, Gecko shouted. The moment he spoke those words, the war god #1 landed from the sky. The 2 Martian mecha were hacked apart. His obvious tactic was ruined. With their skill level, this should not have happened. However, anyone who was placed in such a battle would definitely have panicked and their hands and legs would have become jelly. The war god #1 rushed forward as expected but then suddenly dived as he approached, spinning as he tackled Gecko. Gecko's hand twitched as he fired his laser. That last shot had missed, but he heard an explosion. Dominating. White beheading steamboat's mech exploded. He was Mars' top diamond-ranked close combat expert, but against that brittle skin, he was killed before swinging his sword. Under the relentless assault, he thought that his word would be the first to hit, but that was a misjudgment. At this time, all of the Martians were simply wishing for the battle to finish, having given up on all their pre-planned tactics. While watching a single mech rush towards their location, they had been completely suppressed by Skeleton's imposing manner. Boom, godlike. The engine of the 9th mech exploded. The system voice rang loudly once again. There was only 1 enemy left. Currently, War God #1 was akin to an invincible killer, and Skeleton was a god of death. It was possible to imagine the Martian's state of mind at the moment. Absolute fear. While holding on to a dented titanium knife, Wang Jung walked towards Gecko, the leader of the Martian conquest army. However, a surprising scene suddenly occurred. Gecko turned his laser rifle towards himself. Suicide. Fight. In the first place, the one who could come up with such a plan was a strategist, not a warrior. After deliberating, he decided that he would not let the opponent achieve the 10th kill. But before the muzzle could be stabilized, a tearing sound came from the mech. The titanium knife had already penetrated through his mech, a quick stab with deadly precision. Boom. Legendary. The announcement rang throughout everyone's ears and an extremely deep reverberation that had not been heard before shook the cores of their souls. A light shone from above the city. Team Skeleton wins. This was War God #1, the Skeleton War God. All of Team Skeleton raised the laser rifles in their hands and cheered. Everything was possible. The crowd of Martians slowly trickled away, but the lesson this time had left them with a deep impression. However, Wang Jung was not affected by this match, as the display of skill could only match up to that of a primary schooler's. Frankly speaking, a one-on-one match might have even been better. During the training within the Rubik's Cube, the emphasis was to remain calm under all circumstances. Yet this was the main weakness of the others. Once under pressure, their ability to make decisions would be hampered. A few Martians stole looks at the group, faces white as ash. 10 kills for the ultimate god. Are we even playing a game? I don't think that Barbarian Bull will use his catch move ever again. This was definitely a suicidal move, messing with the death god. Damn, Barbarian Bull, Are you out of your mind? Dragging this type of guy over? How are we supposed to meet others in the future? Are you crazy? If you had just fought properly, how would they have stood a chance? F***ck. You blind idiot, this was obviously to lure us into fighting them, and you still bit the bait. What an idiot. The Martians began infighting amongst themselves. In fact, they were initially just here to enjoy themselves and at the same time attempt to raise their own reputation. Yet despite this being broadcasted, they had shown such a disgraceful sight, so they could only prepare to be humiliated in the future. The indignant bullhead suddenly erupted. Get lost. You all were still cheering and laughing when I started the bout, and you dare to blame me now. There were countless reasons for the loss this time, but it was evident that for the others, the days ahead would not be smooth sailing. After the battle, Wang Jung was simply relaxing and listening to music, downing the beverage that the boss had sent to him. A one-on-one duel might have been fun, but group battles also had their own charm. In fact, the military college's focus was primarily on group battles, which did make sense. In the previous bout, if not for the compatibility with his team, the chances of him winning would have indeed been low. While it might not have been impossible, with a bunch of mecha constantly keeping track of their energy shields, it would be hard to make any plays, not to mention the chance of getting surrounded. While individual skill was taken into account during team battles, it was in fact not the most crucial factor, as extraordinary strength could be shown simply with great coordination. The average power on the Martian side was indeed slightly higher, but they were still easily beaten by the teamwork and tactics of the others. Additionally, the abilities of a leader was essential. During the battle, there had been a few times where the other teammates were prevented from rushing forward. One had to have confidence in his judgment, as a wrong command would mean a total wipe. At the time when Wang Jung was caught, the energy shields of both him and his opponents were nearly depleted, which caused the opponents to fall into a panic. Once their psychology had been understood, the actual execution of the move was simple. Of course, this was due to the lack of experience on the other side. Luckily, they weren't against more difficult opponents, ones who would not lose focus at any point during the match. For guys like Changsun, it was impossible to even cause him to be careless for a moment. A serious fight was indeed a joy, but an occasional relaxed bout was enjoyable too. Team Skeleton immediately broke out in cheers, as these kinds of fights were great for their morale, especially when they had only been spectators in the past. It was a different experience altogether, and it had indeed gotten everyone's hopes up. One thing that Wang Jung had neglected to mention was that with the exception of Rainbow and Wild King, the skills of the other 8 members had drastically improved within a short time. This change of mindset, while it may not immediately have translated into results, would surely have an effect on their state of mind. Those who had experienced such a fight would surely have had a significant boost in their confidence, and at the same time, set their sights toward other experts. In future fights, they would be even more focused, and their individual judgment during macro plays would also be different. This was not something Wang Jung would have thought of. Likely, this was an example of how the environment would influence your character. Boss, where are you? Tyrant Sus' excited voice rang out from the Skylink. Just finished a bout. Why? Since you are about to set off, come out and drink. How can Mei Mei and I leave you alone? Tyrant Su smiled. All right, give me the address. Wang Jung was still not used to life without Yan Xiaoshu. At another corner, other than Yan Xiaoshu and Mei, Yi Zisu was also present. Is it all right for me to be here? Yi Zisu replied, with a hint of embarrassment. Why wouldn't it be? The only ones that came from Dawn were us 3, we're just like trench brothers. Yan Xiaoshu smiled, as it was him who had called both of them out. Ever since Tyrant Su left Ares College, his skills in handling relationships improved drastically under the encouragement of Mei. Admittedly, there was still a significant difference between a boy and a man. Amongst the girls that he had interacted with, Yan Xiaoshu felt that Yi Zisu was the most suitable for Wang Jung, especially since her family would not be able to hear any rumors as they were still within a closed space. In addition, Yi Zisu would be a great help to him in the future. Yan Xiaoshu was different from Wang Jung, as within the period where he was following old Yan to deal with other businesses, he began to be more familiar with the unwritten rules of the society. Alternatively, it could be said that he had dropped his earlier naivety. No matter if Wang Jung wanted to fulfill his dreams or to be more successful in the future, it was necessary to have a suitable companion. There was no one more suitable than her. More importantly, Yi Zisu was infatuated with Wang Jung. It was nearly impossible to find such a girl. And Mei was also in favor of Yi Zisu, as she was ready to help others and did not have a temper. Admittedly, that Xiao Shi was indeed beautiful, but what of it? She had still disappeared without a sound. In fact, this encouraged Yi Zisu to make the first move. Noticing the presence of Yi Zisu, Wang Jung was not in the least surprised, as he had already been treating her as a close friend. "Boss, we're leaving in 2 days. Do you have the confidence to bring back a victory?" Yan Xiaoshu heroically asked. "2 beers please." "I don't know, I heard there were quite a few experts," Wang Jung said. He was quite interested in the selection this time. "The thanks goes to Susu this time. She's done quite a bit of homework," and Mei said while hugging Yi Zisu. Yi Zisu smiled. It was still okay. OMG has a few convenient channels for information. IG is not an Earth-based event but rather a Milky Way Alliance one. Their aim is to test the skills of the elites from each sector. Eventually, it became a confrontation between all elites, no matter whether they were from the solar system, the Aslan Empire, the Atlantean Republic, or other major powers. Basically, for those with good results, you will be treated well regardless of which group you join, be it the Galactic Federation Army or any other regional legions. What? I thought it was within the solar system. Seems like there is still another layer above it. It may be difficult this time round, and Mei replied exaggeratedly. The difficulty is indeed high. Not to mention the scope of the galaxy, even the solar system is also full of difficulties. But this year should be different. At least I feel that there is some hope. Yi Zisu smiled slightly. With Wang Jung's abilities, it may be possible to win, but we do need to pay attention to Lear too. Lear, huh? You mean from Zeus Academy last time? He didn't even enter the finals. What's there to be afraid of? And Mei questioned with a puzzled expression. Lear has already entered the IG Galaxy Expedition team, and I'm afraid even he might not have anticipated the previous incident. His personal strength is undoubtedly up there, he has S-class genes, and he's also an ability X wielder. Also, he is from X Academy, which is Earth's only academy that has matched up to the galactic standards, and he has been often called King Lear. Yi Zisu's speech stunned the three of them. King Lear, what era is this? Why is it so exaggerated? Tyrant Su absolutely couldn't imagine it. Yet Yi Zisu did not laugh and simply shook her head. It's true, the so-called X Academy only accepts students who awakened their ability X before 10 years of age. Nobody knows where it is located. Lear previously attended 2 sessions. In fact, those participants that could match up to the galactic standards, there are only 5 in the solar system, and Lear is one of them. I think the reason why Masashi left our school was to distance himself from Lear's strength. This information was beyond everyone's imagination. Need it be that exaggerated? The fight has already begun, although it seems like we are still living in a different world. Yi Zisu smiled wryly. Indeed, it does seem that way. Those that graduated from Academy X are all extremely strong, but I don't have more information on them. However, it is likely that they will appear during this time's IG selection, since this the first confrontation for the new generation. I'm afraid it is just to prove that they are the real kings within the solar system. Who's that guy from the moon? Wang Jung was a little curious. Not sure, he's been very secretive, however, Masashi is under him, Yi Zisu replied. That can't be, Masashi was only his underling. There are still 7 others with the same caliber as Masashi, and they will be present this time. Some will just be there as a formality, while others are just there to broaden their horizons. However, the contest for the seat of the king has long started. The comments by Yi Zisu opened a whole new world to them. Despite this, Wang Jung did not feel that it was exaggerated, as he had already given up on things such as the gene score. It could even be negative for all he cared. But regarding Ability X, Wang Jung was still rather interested. Ability X, is it a superpower? You may consider it to be so. However, it shouldn't be described as a superpower, as the human brain does indeed possess extremely strong powers by itself. During the Zerg era, mankind had the choice to give up the power of science and technology for the advancement of themselves. but it's unknown why it suddenly disappeared, or if it has been suppressed by other causes. What era is this even? In a mecha battle, what's the use of human strength? You can't put it that way. Wang Zheng should have been clear about this before. The current design of mecha is the product of biological technology, genetic technology, and mechanical design. The ability of the pilot is also essential. Simply put, ability X can be amplified by the mech, giving rise to a surprising result, Yi Zisu said. If I understand correctly, the use of mental force in combat is only different due to each person's characteristics and variations in strength, Wang Zheng said. That is about right. However, the use of ability X is not even known by the government, it's controlled by a small group within our galactic allies. Academy X is such a place, and of course it is also known by a few strong empires, such as Aslan, Yi Zisu said. Wouldn't it mean that Xie Yuxin is a big shot? Yan Xiaoshu gaped. That idiot, there was no news from him once he left. Isn't he stronger than Lear, since Lear wasn't eligible for those intergalactic academies? Yi Zisu shook her head. No, Lear's class should still be higher than that of Xie Yuxin. The earlier your ability awakens, the stronger it is. Ability X is still dependent on individual practice, but it is necessary to mention that a humongous team is needed as a support, as the promotion of this ability requires expensive equipment and resources. F***ck, this is too unfair. Listening to what you just said, I think that boss might as well not attend, this is just being tortured, Yan Xiaoshu complained helplessly. The recent happenings had been rather uneventful, which caused his self-confidence to raise by quite a bit, but upon hearing Yi Zisu's remarks, he immediately became deflated. Without competition, there would be no progress. Others may not be able to do it, but Wang Zheng definitely can. Let me toast you a cup. I wish that you will obtain good results, Yi Zisu said. I know you are a resilient person, and you definitely will not give up. It seems that I must live up to the expectations of Yi Zisu and show some results before returning. Both of them toasted each other and downed their glasses. Don't think so far into the future, just focus on today. Being able to attend is a good thing. Beauties, let's drink more. Yan Xiaoshu quickly put his worries behind him. With his tiny influence, he wasn't able to change anything about the larger affairs. With Yan Xiaoshu around, no one would ever be worried for long. This guy was just constantly babbling on. And Mei was slightly amused, and Yi Zisu was smiling while looking at Wang Zheng. Honestly speaking, after saying so much, most people wouldn't still be in the mood for drinks, but there were no such thoughts from Wang Zheng. His calm eyes exuded an aura of self-confidence, and it was precisely this gaze that had attracted her, making her unable to avert her eyes. And Mei was also secretly paying attention to this scene. Tisk tisk, she can't even look away. Is Wang Zheng that good? However, she was aware that the stream of mails chasing Yi Zisu was unending and that her mailbox had always been stuffed full. Only Yi Zisu could cause the awkward and clumsy boys to be this detailed, and this was not only limited to their own school, there were even admirers from other schools. There was no choice, as Yi Zisu had to personally attend some of OMG's activities just to show her face. Within Beijing's socialite circle, Yi Zisu was named as the #1 beauty, as her demeanor and commentary were unparalleled, much better than any celebrity endorsement. Tyrant Su was the first to get drunk amongst the four of them. He had been too excited, constantly dropping explosive information, and had drank way too much. After the three of them sent Yan Xiaoshu back, Wang Zheng accompanied the two beauties home. When they were reaching the dormitory, Mei quietly found an excuse and left first, thus creating an opportunity for Yi Zisu. Perhaps it was due to the alcohol, but the rosy face of Yi Zisu was too beautiful to behold. Wang Zheng, the moon is really pretty. Wang Zheng lifted his head. It was indeed pretty. He had never been to the moon before, but there was finally an opportunity now. At this time, Yi Zisu finally took the courage and lightly kissed Wang Zheng's cheek before swiftly fluttering away like a butterfly. Don't think too much, this is to encourage you. Good luck, friend. Wang Zheng touched his face, holding back his laughter while looking at the cute Yi Zisu. What was that? Nothing in this world would able to stop him, not even those invincible family's children, or those self-proclaimed ability X elites. Over the next 2 days, everyone was busy arranging their classes. Upon reaching the headmaster's office, Zhang Shan scratched his head when he saw Wang Zheng and Meng Tian. "What's up?" Meng Tian shook her head. "Not sure." At this instant, they saw Zhang Runan and the dean's assistant walking out from the corner of the corridor. "Everyone is here, let's go in." The assistant nodded and motioned the four of them to enter together. Upon opening the office's door, the antique red carpet was indeed striking. On the left was a row of bookshelves with ancient paper books and a variety of academic medals and souvenirs. A tea table which could sit at least 12 people was placed in the middle of the room. Further in, there was the headmaster's desk, decorated with various medals and awards. On the right was a row of half-meter-tall portraits. They were the previous headmasters of the college, a total of 11. Aries Academy had hundreds of years of history, so it was obvious that only the most outstanding headmasters had the honor of leaving their portraits on this wall. Presently, the headmaster was standing right in front of these portraits, and upon hearing the four of them enter, he slowly turned around. "You've all come." The headmaster pointed towards the tea table in the center and motioned them to be seated. "Headmaster, the graffiti at the school's gate was not done by our arts department." Upon being seated, Zhang Runan immediately spoke up. Thinking back upon it, it was the only matter that would require the headmaster to personally send his assistant to investigate. The headmaster opened his mouth. "So it was you all who did it." On the wall of the school's gate, a life-sized picture of an Olympian god had appeared overnight. Additionally, the pigments used were unique, such that they could not easily be covered up by other coatings within a short period of time. Graffiti was a type of art. However, the key was that the gods depicted in the drawings were extremely bloodthirsty, which had severely affected the physical and mental health of Aries College's primary and high school students who had just happened to pass by. It was even rumored that a primary student had written to his teacher that the painting had a negative influence on him, that it caused him to sleep in classes and his grades to decline. Even worse, this incident had been reported on the news. Zhang Runan quickly shook her head. "Headmaster, you've misheard me. I'm saying it was definitely not us. Rest assured, I will find out who the culprit is as soon as possible and deal with him under the school rules." "Sigh, forget it. The reason I'm searching for you all is not due to this small incident." The headmaster cleared his throat. "For this time's IG, the initial training camp for the solar system has already begun. As the head of Aries College, I have said this before, know yourself and know your opponent. Just fight using your own style." This was such a large event that Ji Yute could not ignore it. The original plan was to let this four students relax a little, but there would be no motivation without any pressure. The path had to be taken step by step, and the headmaster had already set his sights far into the future. This was an opportunity to let Wang Zheng practice his strength and accumulate experience, all to collect the harvest in the next semester. The headmaster poured tea for the four of them and instructed them sternly. This year's tea was produced from the Alpine Mountains near the southern coast of Asia, and it was rather valuable. Don't be too stressed. I don't require you to obtain exceptional results, but don't be too relaxed either. Just try your best to follow the training. Aries College had not attended IG for numerous years. The current situation was already an improvement over the past, but it would be best if the results were not too disastrous, as that would invite ridicule from others. Regarding the IG training camp, Wang Zheng had been looking forward to it. The elites of the whole solar system gathered together. With this kind of interaction, thinking about it made his blood boil. Zhang Shan's battle genetics had been fully awakened, and it was obvious that he was interested in exchanging pointers with other experts. This was not due to arrogance, as he clearly knew that he had a late start. The intention was to simply find out where he stood amongst others and to have a clearer grasp on his own strength in order to find the fastest way to become stronger. Zhang Runan looked the most composed, while Meng Tian had a glimmer in her eyes. Among the four of them, she had the best understanding of IG. Ji Yute may have been encouraging them, but it was clear that even he had not much confidence in them. While leaving the headmaster's room, Meng Tian opened her mouth. The training this semester will be extremely difficult. Previously, the solar system was ranked at 75th place. This time, the training will certainly be even more brutal. Cruel, Zhang Shan laughed. Cold would have been an understandable description, but cruel, wasn't that too much? Meng Tian glanced at him and said, 101 people took part in the last training camp, and 61 of them dropped out halfway. Of these 61 people, 20 are still lying on hospital beds in the intensive care unit at Alliance Hospital. Zhang Shan twitched. They had been in the hospital for a year? The results from the last batch were not satisfactory, so the level of intensity for this year's training program will definitely go up. Do you know how the solar system trained to break through to become one of the top 20? Zhang Runan spoke too. It was evident that she had looked closely into the subject. Zhang Shan shook his head. I don't want to know, sometimes, ignorance is bliss. Wang Zheng chuckled. Who cares, with so many elites out there, we're unimportant. The three of them looked at Wang Zheng. This lad was blindly humble when he shouldn't be, but now that he said that, they all felt better. That's true. We're definitely not going to be their targets. Meng Tian smiled weakly. After having been through Bonehead's hellish training, no matter how tough or tiring things got, it would still feel heavenly to Wang Zheng. The next day, Beijing's space elevator. No ground buildings in any other city looked more magnificent than this elevator. At 1,800 meters tall, the grand facade could be seen anywhere, anytime. Blocks and blocks of elevators disappeared into the ozone layer at top speed, and blocks descended from back into the building, led by the ultra-fiber guiding cables. The whole process was just like the elevators in a Ferris wheel building, just that there were only two levels in the space elevator: Earth and an orbitally aligned space city. To get to the moon, there were two modes of transportation. One was for the wealthy. They'd book a mini business class spaceship to fly directly from Earth to the moon. It was convenient, but very expensive. The other way was much more cost-effective and economical. Anybody could easily afford it. Take the space elevator and arrive at the space city. Then, pay a nominal amount on the space city and you could make your way onto the moon. The problem was, there were many checkpoints to go through. Wang Zheng and Zhang Shan arrived at the space elevator building. Here, they only had to swipe the transport card built into their Skylinks to board the elevator. Zhang Shan carried with him a huge bag that was filled with all sorts of Earth's products. But moments later, Zhang Shan, with the bulging haversack, dropped his jaw. He gaped as Zhang Runan made her way over, carrying an enormous backpack that was over a meter tall. Sorry I'm late. Meng Tian appeared from behind. Zhang Shan gulped. For the first time ever, Zhang Runan had completely overshadowed Meng Tian. He didn't even notice Meng Tian following behind Runan. We were early. Wang Zheng smiled. Let's go. It was the first time Wang Zheng was going to leave Earth. He found a window seat and sat down. In terms of service and comfort level, it wasn't much different from city transport. But looking out of the window and seeing the buildings become smaller and smaller, there was a special feeling that grew within him. As the gravitational field of Earth gradually weakened, the gravity generator in the space elevator made a humming noise. It was activated to counteract the fainting force of gravity in the elevator. This was what leaving Earth felt like. At her seat, Zhang Runan unpacked her 1-meter-tall backpack. There were tons of meat jerky snacks. There was a reason why she was so strong. The elevator arrived at the Asian District Space City. When Wang Zheng and his friends arrived, they went to the observation deck in the space station. The boundless galaxy was opened up to them and a sea of blue was right below their feet. That was Earth. The impact of looking at this with their own eyes was definitely not something that could be felt through looking at high-definition pictures. But right now, nobody had the mood to enjoy this view. Instead, they hastened their pace and made their way to the transport hub in the city. The space city was generally not much different from Earth. Even the man-made gravitational force was modeled to be exactly the same as Earth's. Above, the ceiling was filled with high-definition projected displays of blue skies and fluffy, white clouds. On the surface, there was plenty of greenery. It was a beautiful environment, where technology and greenery were perfectly put together. People were rushing from place to place, creating a highly effective atmospheric image in the city. They went straight to the moon's depot station. Here, a large ship left for the moon every 5 minutes. But to board the ship, they had to go through an identity check. For ordinary citizens, it meant a very long wait. But for students from military schools, they could go through visa-free. The ticketed ship was just like a cable car. A laser light that never went out pointed to the position of the moon's base, and the ships were all guided by the light. This was a fixed but busy route. At any one point, other ships that did not have the proper permits had to stay at least 100 kilometers away from the path no matter what. The ship arrived at the moon very quickly. After only 45 minutes, Wang Zheng and friends had come to the moon's spaceport. There was someone waiting for them at the platform. A pretty girl held a sign that said, "Welcome, Earth's IG contestants." "Are you the seniors who are here to take part in IG?" The girl smiled brightly. "Yes, we're from Aries College. How do we address you?" Zhang Shan put out his hand, smiling. The girl shook it gently. "Hello, seniors, I'm Mixio from Moonlight College. I'm a chaperone. The seniors from Zeus and Apollo College have arrived." "We're freshmen too, not seniors. Please show us the way, student Mixio," Wang Zheng said. Mixio gave them a sweet smile. "Please follow me." Not far away, a magnetic bus was waiting for them. The bus was printed with the Moonlight College's logo everywhere. On board the bus, the four introduced themselves. Mixio was a cheerful girl. She said, "Sister Meng Tian, you're so pretty." "Such a bubbly girl." Meng Tian chuckled. "You're very pretty, too." "Bus driver, please open up the sky window. I'd like to show our guests the view," Mixio said. The bus top opened, and the moon's scenery appeared in front of everybody's eyes. Beijing was considered one of the top cities on Earth, but compared to Moonlight City, it was rather shabby. In the short development history of the moon, Moonlight City did, in fact, have a long history, yet Moonlight City was not even involved in some of the more significant battles. The reason was that this was also the moon's political and financial center. At one point, it also housed the Mankind Federation's headquarters. But as galactic navigation developed and strategic cores shifted, the solar system faded out. But even then, Moonlight City unquestionably remained as one of the top 100 cities in the Milky Way. At their roots, moon people were once genetically modified to be superior, but under the technological limitations faced, there were plenty of side effects. It was through natural selection and evolution that the situation improved and stabilized, eventually leading up to the high level of genetic capabilities they possessed today. The average level was above the galactic average, but even though they had the capabilities, they were not fated to lead. During the periods where the moon prospered, they were within reach of the peak, but they were beaten by the Earth or Mars people. Afterwards, more competitors got into the picture, and yet still only the moon remained competitive. They were since nicknamed, Forever Number 2. So many pretty girls everywhere. Zhang Shan giggled. The moon's atmosphere has got to be nourishing. Mixio smiled. The moon's temperature is constant. There are hardly any changes, but it lacks the Earth's excitement. I stay on Earth for some time every year. Wang Zheng leaned back on his seat. As he looked up at the sky, he felt relaxed. Naturally, he stretched, as if becoming one with the world. It was a wonderful feeling, but it was clear that the moon had a very shallow world of nature that could not even be compared to Earth's. If you experienced such a tingling feeling on Earth, you would feel greatness. However, there was nothing on the moon to make you bow down. Wang Zheng, I heard you were the MVP at the exchange between military schools on Earth. I very much look forward to your performance this time, Mixio said, while sizing Wang Zheng up. MVP? I don't know anything about that. We came here to learn. Wang Zheng smiled. This lad's always like this, don't listen to him. We came here to beat everybody, Zhang Shan said boldly, his arms wide open. Moon girls, here I come. His three companions rolled their eyes. Mixio was astounded. What? Zhang Runan kicked Zhang Shan back onto his seat. Stop embarrassing us, behave. Superman, we are friends, yeah, but if you do that again, I'm taking you on, one-on-one, Zhang Shan yelled. Zhang Runan didn't even glance at him, she just munched on her snacks. Sure. Sister Runan is so cool, Mixio exclaimed. This girl looked like she had ill intentions. It was very likely that she was here to fish for information. The moon was clean and beautiful, but Wang Zheng felt that everything was too exquisite. It'd be enjoyable to stay for some time, but in the long run, he'd run berserk. Has Achilles arrived? Meng Tian asked. Upon hearing this name, Mixio's eyes lit up. They were filled with admiration and idolization. His Highness the Sun God has arrived. I'm really jealous that you get to take part in the same contest as him. The Sun God. What a name, what does that guy do? Zhang Shan asked in disdain. How old was this kid, to think he called himself a god? Mixio looked at him pitifully. That's because you haven't seen him. Anybody would definitely bow down to the sun's rays. Zhang Shan shook his head. So she was just a silly, smitten girl. She's not exaggerating. Achilles is the most highly ranked among the young generation in the solar system. The nickname is not unacceptable, Meng Tian said. What? How come I have never heard of him? Zhang Shan scratched his head. Seemed like his was not kept up to date. Masashi is his underling, Meng Tian went on. Damn, really? This guy is that great? What about Earth? Where would I rank? Zhang Shan asked. Mixio giggled. Senior Zhang Shan, only those who can make it into Academy X are fit to enter the Milky Way potential ranking. Earth's strongest is Lear. Nicknamed King Lear. He's very powerful. Zhang Shan was stunned. What was all that? It was as if he had been living in an entirely different world. Wang Zheng already knew about all this, so there was no need for so much talk. It was more important to battle first. He was very interested in ability X. Xie Yuxin seemed to have the ability to make a certain level of prediction. He wondered what special abilities these people had. Interesting. Mixio observed the quartet. Meng Tian was the calm type, Zhang Shan seemed average, impulsive, and careless. Zhang Runan, average. Wang Zheng, average. This particular group from Earth didn't appear to be special at all. Seemed like it was still only Lear they had to be wary of. In fact, she thought that her sister was being paranoid. Even Lear wasn't much of a match for the sun god, let alone the rest. It was those from Mars and a couple others that they had to watch out for. Earth people were too arrogant for their incapabilities. Plus, they'd rather suffer than lose face. The more she thought about it, the more relaxed she felt. She continued to introduce some famous architecture and their histories. Explaining history to Earth people was such a waste of time. It could have been the beauty's warmth at work, as the four of them listened attentively. They were guests after all, and it was only right for them to show their host some respect. They finally arrived at the highly prestigious Moonlight College an hour later. This place had groomed countless significant characters, including some groundbreaking ones. Even though it had been a long time and these people were no longer around, the school's name and status were built up. On the moon, changes were seldom made to colleges' names. Even at their lowest, they would hold on tight to their names. It was a habit as well as a tradition. Earth, on the other hand, did not take things to heart. It may have been because names with good history were the last thing they lacked. Ares College was not always known as Ares. Nobody could remember which headmaster it was who wanted to bring the school out of the trenches using an extraordinary name. But it didn't seem to have any effect anyway. This is Moonlight College. You may leave your belongings on the vehicle. There'll be someone to bring your baggage straight to the dormitory where you'll be staying later, Mixio said. Do bring with you your valuables. Where are we going next? To the Moonlight Assembly Hall. All contestants are arriving today, and everyone is to wait in the hall for a bit, Mixio answered. The contestants who've arrived are already there. Well, then let's go take a look. What are we waiting for? Zhang Shan could not wait any longer. After so much exaggerated talk, he'd just like to see if the people there had 3 heads and 6 arms. Please come with me. Mixu smiled. Moonlight College was truly a beautiful place. The whole school was shimmering silver and yet did not appear too dull. The buildings seemed focused mainly on arts and humanities, unlike the overall high-tech status of the moon. The contrast highlighted how outstanding the college was. Just a few hundred meters into the college, they could see the striking Moonlight Assembly Hall. It was a typical crescent-shaped structure. As they neared the hall, they could hear the unending chatter and laughter. Seemed like many had already arrived. Every time someone made an entrance, it naturally attracted the attention of everyone in the hall. There were over 100 people seated inside. When Wang Zheng and his friends entered, the whole hall stood still immediately. But the moment they noticed their school logo, the bustling resumed. It was okay to disregard Earth's Ares College. Wang Zheng and his friends didn't give it much thought. They found an empty spot and sat down. It was the first time they had seen so many people of different shapes and sizes, so they looked around curiously. About then, a young, fat boy appeared. It was Luo Fei from Zeus College. Ares College would not have had the opportunity to be here if not for his mistake. To think that he was allowed to attend the contest despite having made such a grave mistake. Do you guys remember me? I'm Luo Fei, from Zeus. The fatty was all smiles. Of course we remember. You're our benefactor. You're here too, Zhongshan said, mockingly. Haha. It's all luck. Luck. This time around we're comrades in the battle trench. Please treat me kindly, treat me kindly. The fatty had a positive attitude. You're too polite. We should help one another. Who are all these people? They all look cocky, Zhongshan asked. The fatty laughed. Almost all the highly skilled players from the top military schools in the solar system are here. That group in the fiery red uniforms, they're from Mars. Those in black are from the Republic of Karagal. These Space City guys have always liked to behave arrogantly. Those in silver are from the moon. I heard there's some guy called Achilles who's extremely good. Who is that? Hush, softly. Fatty looked around and heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that no one had noticed them. The big guys are not here yet. They wouldn't appear in this room anyway. Also, don't bring up the 5 heavenly kings here. You'll get into trouble. Damn, 5 heavenly kings. Can't even talk about them when you don't even get to see a strand of their hair here. Zhongshan shrugged. What sort of trashy place was this? They hadn't even began competing and everyone seemed to be better than everyone else. Wang Zheng was making his observations too. Lear was indeed not in the room, but there were a few familiar faces. There was Masasi, and Carlos too, but times had changed. They were no longer on the same side. With so many people, even if it was safe to say that most disregarded Earth, there were some who had spied on them. Their eyes would light up when they saw Meng Tian, but as they glanced across, they'd turn into stone. Ew! Can that even be considered a woman? She's hideous. Oh, my eyes. This is IG training, not Jurassic Park. Who let her out here? As the discussion grew louder, so did the laughter. Zhang Runan continued to snack, her expression unchanged. But Wang Zheng noticed that Zhang Runan's hands were shaking uncontrollably. Luo Fei shrugged. Ignore them. These people are uncultured. Fatso. Who are you talking about? 4 people made their way over. Luo Fei pouted his chubby face. Ah, I was talking about uncultured people. Why? That got you nervous. Yo. Have the ways of the world changed, Zeus College? What's wrong with Zeus College? Fatty was unafraid. He stuck his tummy out, showing his school crest off. The 4 looked at each other. We'll give King Lear some face. You, watch your tongue. These signs were useful everywhere. No need for that. You 4 should wash your mouths. Your breaths stink, Zhongshan said. The quartet was ready to leave, but they stopped immediately and said, Tisk tisk. This is interesting. Did we say anything wrong? She is hideous, right, bros? Wang Zheng smiled and stood up. You better apologize, or things will get out of hand. The 4 clad in purple clothes were from the Europa Federation, Europa Military School. So what if we don't apologize? We don't see a need to. They were a bunch of youngsters with raging hormones, and all of them were overly excited to show themselves off. They had nothing to watch out for since the big guys weren't around. So I'll beat you till you apologize, Wang Zheng said coolly. Please don't. Fighting is prohibited here. You'll be asked to return. Luo Fei tried stopping them, but he quickly changed his stance. However, there's a way to resolve conflicts. How about an arm wrestle? Losers shall apologize. The leader of the Europa group burst out laughing. You asked for it? You're pretty big, Let's see if you're big for nothing, come on. Are those guys from Ares crazy, competing with strength against people from Europa? Earth people are always like that. Because of their physical environment, the Europa College from the Europa Federation groomed Herculean men. Even the soldiers in their armed forces mostly rode heavy mech. They were immensely strong. Fatty blinked innocently. Zhongshan, you're bulky, so you've got to be the strong type. Take care of them, you have my support, he whispered. Meng Tian looked coldly at Luo Fei. He was no good guy, hitting others when they're down. Here, Who's afraid? Zhang Shan had been waiting for this opportunity. He had been training for a long time and could not wait to give it a shot. The tables were immediately cleared out, but the people in the room did not crowd around because of that. They simply watched from afar. Highly skilled people all had a high self-esteem. This was merely child's play. As long as they didn't break or smash anything up, nobody would be bothered by them. Zhang Shan rolled his sleeves up. Come on. My name is Yuan Yi. Remember my name. You are the first person ever who dared to compete in strength with me. The name attracted some attention. Yuan Yi was one of the names in the list of top fighters. His immense strength and ability to sustain it allowed him to ride in heavy mechs. It was evident that the contestants were now paying more attention. Yuan Yi was pleased with himself. Pride was very important out here in the field. To be able to make people who were equally skilled remember his name, he had to have some kind of specialty. Comparing their body builds, Zhang Shan was slightly bigger than Yuan Yi, but when Yuan Yi removed his jacket, everybody's eyes widened. His body was not just muscles, it gave people the illusion that it had a golden shimmer. From what the naked eye saw, the muscle's strength was unlike that of ordinary men. Leaving one's name in IG was indeed no small feat. Lad, I will not use any strength in the first 3 seconds, Yuan Yi said, full of himself. Don't be too cocky. Show me what you've got, haha, I shall be the judge. Friendship before competition. Fair play. Only start when I count to 3. Fatty Luo Fei placed his hand on the two's hands. Any tricks played would only cause embarrassment in front of everybody present, so nobody would try to play foul. 3, 2, 1, go. Fatty had just finished when Zhang Shan roared. His biceps bulged and there was an outburst of strength. But seated opposite him, Yuan Yi smirked. He did not move a single bit. 1, 2, 3. Yuan Yi began using force. Zhang Shan's veins popped. He tried to withhold it as much as he could, but he still couldn't stop his arm from being pushed back. This was the strength of the Europa College. The students from the college mainly rode on heavy mechs, and they adapted extremely well to harsh conditions. They were similar to professional truck drivers in ancient Earth. Bang! Zhang Shan was completely flushed, but he still failed to stop his arm from falling back. It was finally slammed against the table. Yuan Yi smiled. Lad, declare your name, you're considerably strong. While he appeared relaxed, Yuan Yi was surprised for a moment. How could Earth produce someone so strong? He had wanted to defeat Zhang Shan in an instant, but his opponent managed to hold on for some time. Having remained silent all this while, Zhang Runan made her way over. If you can hold me back for 3 seconds, you win. The entire hall fell silent when she finished. The teams from the Moon and Mars turned their attention to her. Yuan Yi was undoubtedly good at strength, but someone actually dared to challenge him? Yuan Yi was ecstatic. Little dinosaur, are you trying to frighten me? If you can beat me in 3 seconds, I'll eat that table. Zhang Runan put her elbow on the table, but Yuan Yi waved his dismissively. What happens when you lose? I'll withdraw. Zhang Runan was always straight to the point. Runan, don't stoop down to their level, Zhang Shan urged. Zhang Shan was not the kind who'd fight a wolf. Despite having lost, he saw what the opponent was capable of. It was okay to lose out sometimes. Moreover, he used to major in physics. Alright, straightforward, I'll compete with you. Yuan Yi dropped his elbow onto the table. Immediately, Judge Luo Fei placed his hand on theirs. Okay, 3, 2, 1 go. They'd only just began and Yuan Yi felt an enormous force coming at him. Out of instinct, he flexed and tightened his whole arm, making it as hard as steel. When he had mustered all his strength, his body was no different from a chunk of metal. He would never fall unless his bones were broken. 1 second, 2 seconds, just then, Zhang Runan's baggy clothes moved in crash. Yuan Yi's body was lifted and he was completely pinned to the ground. The entire hall went completely silent. Yuan Yi had lost consciousness. In that instant, Wang Zheng thought he had seen something burst out of Zhang Runan. Ability X, and its strength type ability. Since when did Earth have someone like that? A few moments of silence later, people started whispering amongst themselves. The guys from Europa came forward and clumsily lifted Yuan Yi up, but Yuan Yi could still hold up. He woke up very quickly and stared at Jong Runnen, eyes wide open. F***ck off, I am not dead, he said as he struggled to get up. In an abrupt movement, he wiped his mouth. He was aching all over. Was this the power of someone with ability X? Boss, seeing that Yuan Yi wanted to cause more trouble, everyone rushed to stop him. That would be putting his life at risk. Competing with someone with ability X was not a smart thing to do. I've lost. I said stupid things, you're very strong. Yuan Yi was very earnest. People from Europa were impulsive, but they admired strong people the most. What's your name? Do you have a boyfriend? Let me be your boyfriend. Yuan Yi chirped passionately. Even though there were no stark differences in the way they perceived beauty, each planet had their own specific preferences. Take for instance those from Europa. They actually liked women who were fit and strong. Given the extreme contrast from before and after, the whole bunch of them stared hard at him. Jong Runnen looked coldly at Yuan Yi and said only one word, scram. Yuan Yi smiled. No hurry, let's get to know each other people when we have time. What are you staring at? Send me to the sick bay. He couldn't even remain upright as he spoke. He was only putting up a front. That was a harsh one. His friends from Europa quickly ushered him off. The fatty's eyes lit up. Wow, powerful, undoubtedly the number one from Earth. I've not met this senior. Sigh, seems like you guys didn't give everything you had the last time. Jong Runnen ignored Luo Fei and continued eating, but nobody dared to belittle Ares College now. A strength-type ability X person. There was no way that could be disregarded. In a place like this where the best of the best were gathered, only those who were truly capable could earn respect from others. Ah, there are actually people like that from Ares? Masashi, you never told us, Otto's chuckled. Seems like we really cannot underestimate our opponents. Milo smiled. Apart from that Wang Zhang, we should keep an eye on this Zhang Runen. And Meng Tian, only that Zhang Shan is substandard. We'll fight them as we go along. Our only true match is Lear, Masashi said coolly. Ha. Lear is still pretty raw, not boss's match. What we should focus on now is keeping things in control. We can't breed and sow discord, Milo answered. Apart from making it through the selection, the contestants were also here to fight for the titles of Best Player and Best Team. Contestants continued to arrive, but none of the strongest few were in sight. Luo Fei had returned to the Zeus College group. Half an hour later, an officer clad in the Solar System Federation Army's uniform entered and the hall settled down. The officer smiled. Hello, everybody, I'm Su Yan. I can be considered your senior. IG is a good opportunity for everyone to level up and to make friends. I hope all of you will have a good time here. One look and you could tell that Su Yan was a moon person. He was handsome and looked like he was only in his 30s, his rank was colonel. Haha. Everybody, relax. There is no task for today, it's just for everybody to get to know one another. It'll be free and easy when you're dismissed from here later. Just assemble back here tomorrow morning. Feel free to ask if you've got any questions. You can see me as a friend. Those from Moonlight College smiled awkwardly and remained quiet. Those from other colleges couldn't care much. Colonel Su, when will the contest begin? Right here in Moonlight College? Are we allowed to woo the pretty girls here? The hall burst into laughter. Su Yan was amused. That will depend on your capabilities. Information pertaining to the contest will be released right here at 8 a.m. tomorrow. You'll know then. Anything else? Ask. We'd like to know how many people will be selected this time around, someone from Kalaka asked. Su Yan nodded. Good question. There's no limit. You'll get to stay on as long as you make it through the rounds. It is something you should feel honored for. Those who make it through will have their portfolios recorded in the Federal Army and may even get to represent the solar system in the actual IG. This can be described as your stepping stone to the universe. Colonel Su, have you taken part in the actual IG contest? Su Yan chuckled. Yes, but I did poorly. Those seated could no longer bring themselves from laughing anymore. There was no way anyone who qualified to compete was weak. A friendly reminder. To make it through the selection, apart from tough individual capabilities, character is also very important. Perhaps some of you here have character but are merely average in skills. That is okay as long as you pass the round. If your character is outstanding, you'll stand the same chance. So, putting yourself on display is the most important thing. The judges will naturally assess you. Su Yan's words caused some commotion. The IG selection had always been the cradle for generals. Other than picking out the outstanding warriors, other capabilities were important too. This was every contestant's opportunity. If they won, their lives would take on an entirely different path from here on. It was indeed as relaxing as Su Yan had described. The briefing ended promptly, and they were simply dismissed. It didn't feel like a contest, more like a holiday. Masashi did not shun away. He took the initiative to say hello. Welcome to the moon. Even though we're now opponents, I hope everyone gets great results. Same goes to you. The moon is a beautiful place, Wang Jung smiled. As for Carlos, he didn't have a good impression of Aries and couldn't be bothered with them. Masashi didn't say much. At this point, everything could be left to the battlefield. Thanks to Zhang Runan's outburst, they immediately won respect from everywhere. Even the treatment they received was not the same. Moonlight College had specially appointed someone to bring them around. Otherwise, nobody would have cared about them at all. Fatty had disappeared the moment they were dismissed. Soon, he reappeared in a mansion outside of the college's campus. Luo Fei looked around and sized up the place. He smiled upon seeing Lear walk out after a gym session. Boss, I've acted according to plan, but there was a little mishap. Aries College has got someone with the ability. Her name is Zhang Runan, she's got a strength-type ability. Fatty remained relaxed in front of Lear. Lear nodded, not too bad. Boss, there's something I really don't understand. You had asked me to fail on purpose at the exchange, and now, to provoke Aries. But now at IG, they're not even our targets. Luo Fei was troubled. He didn't care much about being teased, but he just didn't get it. Yet boss didn't like it when he asked questions. This time round, Lear smiled lightly. And who is our target? Achilles. Lear gazed out of the window and smiled. Did you know that the moon never had someone who was destined to be king? Luo Fei shook his head truthfully. Were they simply unlucky? The moon's status is considerably good in the whole of the Milky Way. But historically speaking, they're powerful, yet never once rulers. That's because they seek perfection. Not just perfection for themselves, but also for their opponents. I told you to make a mistake, so strategically speaking, it was actually my responsibility. A poor understanding of the situation means misplacing the right people. How do you think Achilles will feel when Masashi reports the situation to him? Aha! His pride will definitely make him feel uncomfortable about it. Having buried this seed, whatever grows out will be a positive result to us. Moreover, the title from the exchange doesn't matter to us. As for Aries, there's no need for you to know. Let everybody have a good rest and get ready. We had better not embarrass Earth people. Yes, boss. Luo Fei nodded. The fatty was Lear's cherished comrade, it's just that it was hard to understand what sort of abilities a cheeky, mischievous fatty had that caught Lear's attention. For a very long time now, the Chronos discovered young people with potential from all over the earth and groomed them. The Chronos family motto, to charm your warriors into dying for you, worked extremely well on Lear. After Luo Fei left, Lear sipped on his afternoon tea, which was in unadorned silverware. This was extremely rare on the moon. The state of mind for the way of a king. Somehow, Lear had been in excellent condition. It was as if he was enlightened, and he had the feeling that he had everything in control. It seemed like his ability X was getting better. Achilles, Lai Xin, Rastan, and Taros were his 4 opponents at the moment. Achilles was thought to represent the younger generation of the solar system. He had maintained the best score at Academy X. He was flawless, he was calm, he was wise. But to Lear, people like that were just long-term opponents who would not affect him regardless. Moon people simply did not have strong desires and were overly idealistic, especially when it came to power. They were more concerned with a good name. Lai Xin came from Mars' strongest family, which had held its title for over 1,000 years. Pursuing strength was ingrained into her. Although she was a female, she was very strong. However, Lear had never felt that a woman would be able to obstruct his path to conquest, even though she was nicknamed the Flame Queen. Rastan was from the Republic of Karagal. It was made up of a federation of 100 space cities. He was a person who was not rooted to a specific location. Even though he was strong, his might was fleeting. He was known as the 100 Battles King. Taros was from the Pluto Republic. It was actually a small planet on the edge of the solar system. The environment was terrible, but as the exit point of the solar system, it was an important location. However, from a personal perspective, he was a true genius and was known as King Pluto. In a situation like this, a one-on-one fight was dumb. If one was able to take one competitor out, they would technically be strong enough to take all of the competitors out. The rule of the game was simple. Whoever had the last laugh would be the victor. The process was not important. However, as a competitor from Earth, he needed someone to distract and disrupt the others. Ares College was useful for this. This Wang Jung person was quite capable. It was a pity he was not an Ability X user. As a result, he would only be able to go with the flow and play a supporting role. Who was important was Meng Tian. Meng Tian's abilities were sufficient to attract everyone else's attention. He had never expected a wildcard like Zhang Runan to appear with a strength-based Ability X. In this situation, the board was set. Zhang Shan, on the other hand, was easily provoked. This small team was quite flawed, but it would turn out to be quite a good weapon. Compared to Lear's leisurely mood, a group of people were not taking it so easy. Su Yan was standing at the side respectfully. In front of him were 3 aged soldiers with numerous shining stars on their shoulders. Old Meng, your daughter's temper isn't bad, she is still able to hold back in such a situation. If it was you in the same situation back then, you would have knocked everyone down. The 3 of them were able to see the situation clearly on the video screen. All 3 were generals of the Solar System Federation. Meng Ao, who was from Earth, Lai Wuqing, who was from Mars, Dramok, who was from the Moon. Although space cities developed quickly, in the solar system, the core was still dominated by the big 3, the Earth, the Moon, and Mars. The solar system was always quite peaceful, with peace lasting for uncountable hundreds of years. However, the peace had also brought about checks to its power, but in light of the serious challenges that arose, the solar system's power had gradually increased once again. Meng Ao let out a smile. That Zhang Runan is very interesting. I hope that there are more youths like her. Although the main competitors have been chosen, stronger helpers are always better. Dramok said, in order to bring out the full potential of these kids, let's make this selection a bit more chaotic. You are trying to say that we ought to increase the stakes? Lai Wuqing revealed an interested smirk. Exactly. Taking it step by step isn't good. Why don't we go with plan A? Instead of going out there to humiliate ourselves, why don't we settle things here? Meng Ao, you are quite vicious. I am beginning to think that Meng Tian is not your biological daughter. Old Lai, your niece doesn't look like she's faking it. If she is not able to survive such a small test, what hopes can you have? With regards to the experiences these 3 had, it was likely that an average person would not understand what they were talking about. Hence, Su Yan just quietly listened. Xiao Su, go and carry out the plan. No need to be nice. We have faith that we can make this event a little more chaotic, Lai Wuqing said. Su Yan saluted. Yes, sir, I will accomplish this task. This session was indeed different, and their luck had changed. Su Yan could only envy this situation. Their confidence had stemmed from the appearance of those 5. They had already gone through 2 sessions of Academy X and had even officially graduated. In the Solar System Federation, this was something that had rarely happened. However, this time, when it actually happened, there were 5 of them. This was their human capital. The tone for this IG had already been set. The 5 of them were the key actors and the teams would be tailored around them. At the same time, the 3 old generals had plans of their own. They needed a proper leader this time. The Solar System Federation's disease was not something that happened deliberately. Before peace happened, everything was fine. At that point, there existed only the Solar System Federation, but things were not the same now. Currently, there were several strong empires and republics who had centralized their administrations and placed their strength and efficiency as their priority. The Solar System Federation also required a strong leader. At least strategically, the transition had begun. Whether it would be successful or not would depend on whether there were capable individuals. The stage had already been set and the opportunities were available. However, if the people were not capable, it was because they were just too weak. Lear, Achilles, Lai Shin, Rastan, and Taros. Which of the five would eventually become the true king? Su Yan did not know that the five of them had already made preparations. It looked as though Lear and Achilles had taken advantage of the opportunity to develop their teams. However, no one knew if others would be given an opportunity in the current political situation. Lai Shin was the only female and seemed to be at a disadvantage. However, she had become the number one amongst all the females in the Solar System Federation, so it was not impossible. Although they needed to choose a strong leader, there was still a need to maintain a certain amount of stability in the system. In the Solar System Federation, many standards were relative. Regardless of what happened, it would definitely be exciting. The vast majority of students selected for this competition were very excited. It was the first time many of them had gone to the moon. Furthermore, Moonlight College was famous in the solar system. It had always been the top college for countless years, leading to the envy of many. However, it also had to do with the strength of the moon people. Every planet had their own traits, and the moon was unique. In the solar system, the moon's welfare was the best. As the moon's best military college, the cradle of human talent, Moonlight College's students were able to enjoy significant benefits. Transport within the city was free and so was the food provided. Even if there were administrative fees, they were negligible and were for show. Moonlight College also possessed large amounts of scholarships, unlike many other top colleges of different planets, which might have issues with funding. Coming to this place could be described as going back to a home away from home. However, there were some students who were exceptions to this. Wang Zheng, for example, was not very interested in all this. To be frank, he was not interested in going to the moon. The place felt ephemeral to him. Even though everything was wonderful, it felt fragile and without a foundation to hold it down. However, this feeling was what he felt. If he dared to speak his thoughts aloud, he would definitely be beaten up by everyone around or taken to be a petty individual. Meng Tian and Zhang Runan acted like little girls. They were very curious about this different place. Zhang Shan was also actively exploring the place. Only Wang Zheng quietly stayed in his dormitory. Wang Zheng was not wasting time, however. He cultivated his breathing technique in his free time. Although his primordial regression technique could not advance, after experiencing the 5 elements training, Wang Zheng felt that his technique had changed qualitatively. If he experienced some external shock, it would be possible for there to be a breakthrough. This was his epiphany. After experiencing Bonehead's torment in the Rubik's Cube, Wang Zheng's strongest trait was perseverance. This sort of stability was something that could not be developed without ample experience. The next morning, Wang Zheng finished his breakfast and headed to the venue. Although he thought that he was early, he realized that there were many people already there. Everyone there was wearing the uniform of their school. It was a form of pride and it was easy to identify rivals. Even before 8 o'clock, almost everyone was here. Su Yan had also arrived with a slight smile that comforted the people around. When he was about to speak, a small fatty stumbled over quickly. Sorry, I lost track of time while eating. The entire venue erupted with laughter. Was he actually a pig? He was still concerned with eating now. Luo Fei immediately found a seat and sat down. Even if it wasn't here but his classroom in Zeus College, a situation like this would definitely cause him to be scolded and cursed at immensely. However, Su Yan merely smiled as though this was all just a small matter. Hello, everyone. I am extremely happy to meet you all. I am Su Yan, as per my introduction yesterday. I will be the Solar System's IG Selections team leader. If anyone has any questions, they can look for me. My Skylink can be found on the booklet in your hands. Right now I would like to introduce the selection test. After he finished speaking, everyone perked up and listened intently. It was finally time. Wang Zheng looked around in every direction and realized that Lear had not appeared. F***ck. It looks as though we cannot be compared to him. Is Lear that good? Zhang Shan curled his lips in disgust. It seemed that nothing would be fair from the very beginning. Everyone might be wondering why some people have not arrived. I will explain why later. This time, the selection has been divided into 2. One group will be tested on their ability to lead as part of the commander's test, while the other group will be tested on their ability to work as a team as part of the supporter's test. The first group will be testing one's ability to fight and their leadership abilities. The second group will be testing one's ability to work as a team and collaborate. We will conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the selection tests. Su Yan smiled. The entire audience burst into an uproar. This selection was quite different from before. The problem was who would be chosen for the commander's test and who for the supporter's test. Everyone who came here was ambitious, so wherever they went, they wanted to be in the limelight. No one wanted to be in a supporting role. Currently on hand, we have temporarily chosen 20 commanders and 5 captain candidates. The rest will be part of the teamwork test. After Su Yan spoke, the venue became even more rowdy. Currently, there were over 100 people, but there were so few commanders. Did that mean that everyone else would be a supporter? Su Yan beckoned for everyone to be quiet. This is only a temporary arrangement. Everyone's training is the same. If you demonstrate the ability to do so, you will become a commander. The commanders who are incapable will not even become supporters. At this point in time, the venue gradually quietened down. Everyone understood his meaning. Those who were chosen to be commanders or captains had to uphold greater responsibility. In the IG selection, being paid attention to was not necessarily a good thing. Additionally, everyone now had the chance. After which, Su Yan began to announce the 5 captains and the 20 commanders. Regardless, this was still a form of pride. The 5 captains were not around, but the 20 commanders were there. Everyone whose name was announced had to stand up and let everyone see their face. When it came to the participants of Earth, Ares College's commander was Meng Tian. Meng Tian stood up and was subject to the gaze of numerous people. Of course, it was due to her beauty. How could someone who was awarded the role of a leader be found in such a place? Zhang Shan and the rest were a little shocked. Meng Tian's strength wasn't bad, but it wasn't exceptional. However, Meng Tian seemed quite nonchalant, as though it didn't mean much. When it was Zeus College's turn, their commander turned out to be that fatty.